too obnoxious.
So more professional right now.
Yeah.
You might as well just start taking
Kevin
your
Brousseau story
at this point.
I forget there's a live view. Gotta be careful with that one.
Don't be doing anything inappropriate.
Yeah. Cool. Guys, we might have less people than last week.
I did not hear that.
I didn't
Shout out
either.
to Mike. Thanks, buddy.
Maybe I should. If you're going to continue to write stuff, I should probably put my glasses on. Then I can
It
read.
just says, I heart Jesse and Mike.
Yeah, I just have to go really close to the screen to make it out. So I didn't know if you wanted to see my pores constantly every time I tried to read something. Now I have this.
You really overestimate
Hey, Brooke,
most
welcome
people's
to the
internet
show.
connections.
Brooke.
You muted her.
No, that's up to her.
Yeah.
Actually,
Unmute, Brookie. Unmute. She'll get it.
You probably just joined and then did the student life and just pieced out and said, they'll never notice that I'm not actually here.
Yeah, right.
All right, we'll get her at the end of things. Oh, Justin's waving his hand, or he's raising his hand.
I said Elena's in the show. Elena's in the showroom.
Oh, look at that.
You guys I'll have to send this to you. I think it's social media worthy, but my Memoji and Moxie shirt in anime form for Mike Preventure's FaceTime call earlier was amazing. Can you unlock my camera real quick?
It's a very complicated sentence.
I know.
Sure.
All I heard was Adventure Time.
I got lost.
I've been booted.
I was not paying attention.
Oh,
there's Justin.
There he is.
That doesn't really help. I can't
Is that a turtle?
anything.
Oh, it's a poop face.
Oh, I see it.
Nice.
that's my poop muscle face. I call myself hard shits. Anyways, all right, you can mute me now.
I will re-relegate you to the life of attendee.
All right, we should probably get rolling here at some point, right?
Yeah, we give it a couple more minutes. We got a couple more people that just signed on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, look at this. Filling up.
Oh, we're coming in hot.
Yeah.
I love
Some
it.
names I recognize.
Maybe we'll give the people a little bit more music.
We should create a sitcom, 2 Canadians and 2 Americans or something.
Yeah, we're just rolling at it, Derek. We're succeeding. We're passing last week.
Yeah.
Yay!
We're blowing the doors off last week.
What was that Instagram post?
Yeah, must have been.
Yeah, my gravitas. Although I'm the only one drinking a cocktail and I'm on West Coast time, so.
Hey, dude, it's Friday, and
I know.
everybody's working from home. There's no judgment.
And quarantine means cocktail time is anytime.
No one knows what's in here.
Just straight vodka I'm drinking out of my Nalgene.
That's the cure until they find one.
Yeah. Well, there was that stupid, I saw something and it was like, oh, if you eat a pepper, then you'll not have COVID. And I was like,
All right. What's happening? Well, that's jarring.
Question. My video isn't working. Oh, hey, Brooke. You don't get video. You're an attendee unless we deem you worthy of being a panelist, maybe in future weeks.
That would be good. I
Yeah,
think Brooke would be a valuable, couch guest, just to hang.
100%.
Just throw in some little witticisms here and there.
All right. I think we're getting to the top of the hour here. And I think it's a fair time to kick things off. What do you say, gang?
yeah.
Do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Guys, we want to start by just welcoming everybody who's joined us today to Moxie Live. I'm your host, Johnny Lumens. I'm going to start out today by saying we do hope that our good friend Stanley does start to feel better. He was going to be joining us today, but it does look like he has the symptoms of coronavirus and needs to take care of himself. So all the best to Stanley across the pond. With that being said, we are super grateful to have our good friend, Derek from Flexa Lighting. Derek, wave to the people.
Woo!
All right. Derek is going to be joining us later in the show. As always, I'm here with Walt Whitman Busso, and Elaine, the last Canadian cook who is joining us from north of the wall along with Derek. Before we get into our main section with Derek, I do want to hit you with what we're calling our newest section, State of the Stuff. Yay! Let's see if I can do this. And as always, be prepared for, there it is, some relatively poor, slightly awkward shifts between cameras, production value. Having to change some things up today, we are definitely going crazy in the Moxie newsroom. So for me, in the state of the stuff, I'd like to confirm that it is still a solid 22-foot candles in my parents' basement. It's been holding strong all week. Haven't had any failures of lights. Really strong. The other thing I'd actually like to share with you guys as a quick update is last week Moxie Lighting signed on actually 2 new brands, and you can check them out on our website. I'll share that screen here for you real quick. Those companies are Arcos and Orluna, and we'll talk about that more later. Kicking it over to my good friend Kevin Busso.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Matt. Excuse me, Johnny Lumens. I'm going to never get that right, so let's just move on.
Totally cool.
Yeah, so my state of the stuff thing is I'm going to share something with everybody, a pretty big announcement from one of our brands, Extra Light. They're a Houston-based company. We rep them in both New York City and upstate New York. And so their big release yesterday was that they are going to be producing and distributing a UVC light. It's a portable device that supposedly has some pretty strong antibacterial powers. I don't have a lot of specifics on it. Be upfront about that. I don't have pricing. I don't have lead time yet. They announced it yesterday afternoon. So moving forward, if anybody on this chat wants specific information about this product, we will raise your hand, or we will just throw it out there. Ask a question. We'll put a list together. We are going to be releasing information as soon as we get it. So here's the website. I will drop the link in the chat to everybody, and you can add yourself to the mailing list for Extra Light. They're a good group of people, and they're really stepping up here. So that's all I have. I'm going to stop sharing and hand it back over to our esteemed host, Johnny Lumens.
Thank you, Kevin. We just want to make a quick announcement here that a few people have commented on your jacket, and Kevin, as typical after the show, yes. Oh, and the shades.
Well,
he'll help you out with any fashion questions or purchases
shades
you might be looking to make in the future. All right, let's kick it over to Elaine, the last Canadian cook who was until about 2 minutes ago north of the wall, but apparently she's hiding out in our showroom now. Hi, Elaine.
Hi.
Talk to us about some stuff.
I'm going to share some stuff. So Barbican just released their new, their new wall system, or wall, that's not the wall.
It's a live show, folks. We're doing great.
I tried. I'm trying hard now. I can't get back.
It's okay. We'll just vamp.
There we go.
You're stuck in Canada forever. It's fine.
Okay, there we go. So they just came out with their lit wall system. So they expanded to walls last year, and now have combined their lighting manufacturing with their wall manufacturing and come up with a lit wall. So this was their first render that they were able to send us, and they have just finished design. So new marketing material will be coming out shortly. But I thought it would be fun to let you guys know first. And that is it. I'll pass it back to you, Johnny Lumens.
Your basement, Matt.
All right, that was the state of the stuff. The first one ever. I'd say it went relatively, rough, which is as expected for us. So I'm really excited to introduce Derek today. Derek comes to us from Vancouver. He is with Flexa Lighting, and he agreed to step in last minute to help fill out our segment. We're going to take a little bit of a different approach from last week in that we are going to do a little product, but we also want to talk to Derek a little bit more about the history of his company, and also what life is like up in Vancouver and for Flexa Lighting dealing with the current COVID crisis. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Derek, let him do a little bit of an intro, tell us a little bit about the history of Flexa, and we'll go from there. Derek, my liege.
All right.
You're up.
Cool. So thanks for asking. Flexa is in the state of operation right now. The company is headquartered in Florence, Italy, so we do talk quite frequently with them. When Italy announced in the media that they were on lockdown, it wasn't as devastating as it first seemed with the news of that. So they were actually in operation for 2 weeks after the fact that the media announced that they were on major lockdown. What was happening were certain communities within Italy were on the shutdown, but Florence, being outside of the epicenter, was not. And then it was mandated, I would say a week ago, that all of Italy would be shut down, including Florence. And so they have since stopped any fabrication. I've received word that it will soon be after Easter. The critical thing in all of this is that when we initiated Flexa North America, we actually headquartered all of the operation for this continent outside of Vancouver, BC. So we've actually been okay through this whole transition. Of course, all of it is so roller coaster as what legislation will mandate day to day. And, here in Canada, it seems like we had a pretty early response to the COVID-19 epidemic, but New York was pretty much on the same parallel as responding quite initially to the case as well. So we've seen our numbers increase, but it's looking like maybe we're flattening the curve, so they haven't given us any shutdowns. So with that, our operation is currently ongoing, but there may be some hiccups with timelines just because of some components that we still do have fabricated outside of our facility that we rely on. So certain drivers, because those factories are based in China, have had some issues, but we're pretty much keeping to a 6 to 8 week time frame on most of our product.
Very cool. So
yeah.
Speaking of that and Flexa Lighting, why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of the company in Italy, its founder, and then the gestation of you guys getting started in North America?
Perfect. So I'm just gonna use my slideshow because it just has some really good graphics for me to do that. Everyone can see my screen, right? So the company is very much centered around creating product around small LED point sources. When it started in 2010 in Florence, Roberto, who's the guy onto the left of the skull there, he's the one who founded the whole company, and him and Lapo, who's the other key designer, they were very much, just a bit like steamrolled by why we're still dropping in LEDs into profiles that were meant for MR16 or compact fluorescent. And so they started designing around, smaller optics around LEDs. So we're really known for just very small lighting that accentuates architecture rather than detracts from it. So if you have something that's, even a flanged product, it's still very discreet and quiet in the ceiling. So these are, a bit of a description as to like what you don't want to do versus what we do there on the left with that bathroom situation. So moving into smaller profiles versus what we've been traditionally used to. So 2018 is when we started our operations in North America, and then based out of lovely Vancouver. So we do a lot of the fabrication here. So that's made us very modular for North American requirements. So we do have things like non-IC housings and IC housings. We're Title 24 rated in our 10-watt product if you ever have any projects located in California. We have dim to warm LED chips, where that kind of aesthetic in Europe isn't really, they were such a fluorescent market for a long period of time that dim to warm is a much more North American focus, as well as very high CRI. So in our 6-watt series, which is 600 lumens, and our 10-watt series, which is just under 1,000 lumens, we have an R9 value in the 90s, as well as a CRI of 98. So because we focus predominantly on high-end residential, hospitality, and restaurant work, we really want to make sure that that high CRI story is important with our company, because that would be important for the applications for our designers. So I have a full, robust presentation as you see me scrolling through the PowerPoint here. So this is something we can always set up with, you know, any kind of lunch and learn, etc. We talk about McAdams ellipses, CRI, color consistency, which is all very important because it's so geared towards downlighting and general lighting. So, you know, that's something that we really like to train and educate on. But because our company is based here locally in Vancouver, we can do things like custom REL colors. I just had a request from Kevin today about a chrome finish on the middle guy there, or Baba, which is a 600 lumen downlight into a mirrored ceiling. So that's something we're already investigating. Most likely we can do it here. It's just, we're just trying to get the parameters as far as lead times and pricing. So really known for small apertures. So as you can see in that image there with our Andrew, which is a nice accent situation for, you know, any kind of millworking or retail. Just gonna move along here. Zorino is 100 lumen downlight, so 81 lumens at 3000 Kelvin. But look at the dimensions here. You have an aperture size of 0.98 inches. So it's not even 1 inches for a flange product and less than 1 inches if you're doing trimless. Then we graduate up to the larger size, which is your 0, which now goes to a 600 lumen package at just, you know, over 1 inch in a profile. So really small, sleek type of apertures that, you know, you can, if you're doing like wood ceilings are always pretty tricky because you want to match a flange to the wood, and, you know, you don't really want the flange to be noticeable. So our small aperture type of trimless options are something that you can do in wood or different type of ceiling environments. But in drywall, it's pretty easy. You have a hole cut out, this mud kit that just goes right over top. You can add a base plate or an IC housing behind the drywall, just if, you know, you're trying to lay out your lighting prior, and then you plaster, and then on the downlights themselves, there's this little notch on the side, and it's just a twist connect. Because our product is so small, there is a catch-22 with the drivers. You do have to remote them, but with drivers being remotely located, not in the fixture itself in the ceiling, you can actually address it for maintenance issues in future. And there's cost savings because with the remote driver, you can get more than just one fixture per driver. So
Hey,
here's,
Derek,
yeah.
I'm going to interrupt because I do that from time to time. We did have a question, and we allow people to ask questions kind of live. So one of our avid listeners has asked whether or not you can do dim to warm in your product, and what aperture sizes or chip size.
So with the BridgeLux dim to warm is what we use. So it uses a variety of just, there's a slide on it, so I'm just gonna go right back to it. So this is the BridgeLux module here. I call it like a goat eye, but on the board itself, it's 2 different phosphors where you have the cooler phosphors on the outside and then the warmer phosphor on the center. As the outside LEDs dim down, you start to get that color mix of different white color temperatures. And then you get into the center, and that's where you dim down, getting into a range from 350 Kelvin down to 1800 Kelvin. Sorry, my slide is wrong. It's not 1380. That's the lumen package at 500 milliamps, but we actually run this at 250 milliamps to pass heat ratings. So you're looking at about a 700 lumen package for the product.
What size is that chip? Is it 9 millimeter?
It is the 9, I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And what range, like traditionally from an aperture size, will that fit in? Like the Core 10?
So that would be like our Core 10 or Hero 10. So more so our 2-inch product.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's mainly because of the board itself, the size limitations. And for tunable white, it would be the same situation. We use BridgeLux's tunable white. So it would be the same profile in our fixtures. And that's a good segue for me to go into our next lumen package, which is 1000 lumens with the Cree module, which is what we use for our standard product. But I just want to highlight some really cool ceiling applications that we do with our trimless. So this is a silver foil ceiling we did in the penthouse. This is, you know, because of being so small aperture, you can kind of group your fixtures, have some fun with it. This is a leather ceiling tile that we've, included our Baba in the zero with the trimless in each corner. And then you have, a stone ceiling, which we actually did a penthouse together in New York in a stone ceiling application. So going into the core product, this is where you have the Hero, which is more of a flush trim aesthetic, just in case you have plenum issues, or you have that regressed look with the Core 10 product. But Core 10 and Baba are our flanged options that are pretty much our powerhouses. So they're what you would predominantly use on most general lighting. And then we call the Moon as our trimless to that Core. The Italians love to go a little bit naming crazy. So if you get a little confused, just, reach out to Moxie. They'll navigate you into maybe just dictating, I need something that's 1,000 lumens in a round profile trimless, and then they'll just navigate you to the right spot. But lots of application photos of the product just to generate some inspiration. But then I want to highlight some key items that I really love. So Swan here is a surface mount option where you can have a 1 lamp, 2 lamp, or 3 lamp. There's a recessed version of this too, but these heads telescope out. So you have full 360 degree rotation, plus having that full adjustability of the heads being inside the unit or outside. So great for maybe elevator corridors, etc., where you don't want that cave effect. But new product that we've launched is the Black series. So this uses, there's 3 different lumen packages. So 133 lumens at 3000 Kelvin, 977, and then, this slide is incorrect. So this one would be 600 lumens, and then your Black 10 would be 977 lumens. So we use a very reflective black paint that actually masks a lot of flash. So in the ceiling, this actually looks very silent. So you have this louver that cuts your field angle. Matt's showing you the product there. So perfect for any kind of restaurant, low ambient applications where you just want the lighting onto your surfaces, but not really anything visible in the ceiling. And maybe some IT work if you're looking at commercial applications, or home theaters, commercial theaters, or nightclubs where you really don't want any of that glare off of the fixture. Another interesting type of product we have is the Task 2, which is a 5-degree optic. We have a lot of lighting designers just going like, okay, don't know where to use that. But it seems to be something that's a bit of a conversation starter, something that can create a unique effect along the wall. Our next generation of product that's coming out later this year, maybe early next year, will have this type of product, but in an adjustable downlight. So if you have those specs, just let us know. We can give you a timeline on when that's going to be released. But the big brother to the Task is the Task 10, where you have a 10-degree beam spread with your lighting now at about 1,000 lumens versus something that's more around the 150 mark. As we go on, we have the Jimbo product, which takes the same 10-degree option as the Task, but it's called Jimbo, where with an Allen key, you can actually set your beam spread from 10 degrees to 55 degrees. So perfect for those hospitality projects or gallery projects where you need to pinpoint the beam spread exactly where you need it to be. So, very cool stuff. Moxie has samples of the product. So if you need any mock-up situations, let us know. We can maybe get you a few more just so that if you want to have 3 by each other, these are things that we've done in the past. Bull is a nice flexible product line where it encompasses surface mounts, cylinder pendants, as well as track heads. So something that we're going to highlight next week on our Instagram. So stay tuned for that. Follow us at Instagram. It's Flexa Lighting NA. That's our handle. And then I want to highlight my favorite product in the line called our Maggie. So
actually, Derek, before we get into the Maggie,
yeah,
I have to do this real quick because it's that time. We're 3 minutes over, unfortunately, and I have to do this real quick so we don't get in trouble. We just like to take a moment break to recognize our sponsors of Moxie Live. And yes, if you guys didn't know this, we're sponsored by Moxie. Drink Moxie. It is distinctively different. And that concludes our sponsorships.
It goes well with vodka.
We also like to take this time for a quick intermission to I'll get there. Like I said, poorly produced.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Here we go.
It's all about the build-up.
Oh yeah. Come on, Elaine, get into it.
This feels like the synthesizer Ross Friends episode.
All right, and that's our brief intermission. And back to you, Derek.
Hopefully that tune dropped live on on iTunes.
Also, we did get asked about RGB.
RGB. So we do have access to RGB. That can be something that's in a smaller profile. So let me know of the application. We can embed that type of product. It's not as robust as the tunable white or the dim to warm, but it can be if you want to do a white as well as RGB. So just let me know the parameters of what kind of lumen package you're looking at, or what kind of ceiling height or column, etc., and then I can gear towards the direction of where that needs to go.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. Shoot an email to your Moxie representative, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. Back to Maggie. So Maggie is a linear recess system that uses a housing that is not electrified. So that means that because it won't have electrical components running through the whole span of the run, you get cost savings as well as a very pretty streamlined installation. So this is something that is about $100 per foot. The luminaires range from $200 to just under $300 DN. So it's all dependent on how much flexibility or versatility you want out of a system like this. But we can do the two profiles, so 1.5 inch or 3 inch, and it comes in segments of 1, 2, 4, and 6 feet lengths, plus an L turn shape. We can do custom lengths as well if need be. And then there's an end cap that would finish it off. You have 4 lighting elements, so they're kind of fun names. Well, not really fun because the origin is about 3 musicians who passed away, but it's Leonard Cohen, David Bowie, and Prince. And then you have the 2 sizes. So 36 will give you a lumen range from 600 lumens to 1,000 lumens. And then you have the 72 profile, which is about the 1,700 lumen mark. So the Ben is just a luminous component that breaks up any of the spotlighting from the Leonard, the David, and the Prince. So Leonard is something that adjusts within the profile of the housing, and you can angle it, rotate it. David is just your standard downlight, and your Prince is something that is visible outside of the ceiling plane, and Ben is just your linear luminous. These have magnetic feet. So what you have on the side of the housing there are little knockouts that you can just run your class 2 wiring from your drivers, and then it will connect to your fixture. These magnetic feet allow you to slide it around depending on how much slack you have with your wiring, which is pretty much like a foot on each side. You have that adjustment to place your lighting where you need it to be, or it's modular where you can take out the Leonard, pop in a Prince, or take out the Prince, pop in a David. And yeah, just a really cool system that, you just frame out, have this nailed in, you start to place your housings one after the other, and then you mud over after you've taped at every seam, and then you get a beautiful installation. So this is a project we did. This was actually our first North American project in Montreal that finished last year in August. So it's a banking corporate head office where they did a beautiful black ceiling with just the David luminaire inside, and then you have another run of it going down the corridors. So that's where I want to conclude. I can go right to the end and showcase some fun stuff that is coming out, just to whet appetites, and then I will leave it from there. But
Yeah, we'll open it up. We'll open it up for a little Q&A. But before that, we're also going to go into our final segment of the day, which we call One Cool Thing.
So there you go. So there's our 3 new products. So take it away from there, Matt.
Oh, no, you can go through them real quick.
Okay. So Jack is the adjustable version of that black product that I showcased.
Oh.
Joss is a new monopoint head that will either angle all the way facing downwards as a cylindrical downlight, or you can angle it as a monopoint. There's a wall sconce version of it, and then you can implement it into a new linear system that we call Octo, which is a surface independent version with linear heads as well as small little accent heads. So very exciting stuff that I wish we could have launched in Germany, but everything's kind of in disarray.
2021, Derek. 2021. Here we go, baby.
I know. It will be our year.
Cool. All right. So Derek, hey, I just want to say thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate you stepping in here to do that very quickly. Derek literally prepped in about 5 minutes for the show, and it just gives you an idea of how flexible Flexa Lighting can be.
Whiskey.
Joke. Also Calvin House. So with that, we're going to go into our last segment, and then we'll open up for a little Q&A. This last segment is just called One Cool Thing. It has nothing to do with lighting. I'm going to actually put him on the spot and let Kevin kick it off with his One Cool Thing of the week.
Okay, good. I was ready. I knew you were going to try and catch me off guard here. So one cool thing. My one cool thing, obviously, I have to talk about the elephant in the room, the biggest news in the world right now, the thing that nobody can just get out of their minds, and that is obviously Tiger King on Netflix. Oh my God, this show. If you haven't seen it and you've seen people being annoying about how crazy it is, listen to them. It is crazy. It is worth every moment of your time. I can't say every single moment of it is uplifting or hilarious, but overall, it's hard to imagine occupying the same planet as most of these people. You watch the first episode and you go, wow, that guy's crazy. And then you watch the second episode and you're like, oh yeah, no, I thought he was crazy, but there's like 5 more of these people. And then by the end of it, there's no good guys. There's no normal people. There's no good guys. And it's just, I can't, it's been a week and a half since I finished it and I can't stop thinking about it. So my one cool thing this week is Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Back to you, Johnny Lumens.
Thank you.
And I'm out of breath.
We're going to kick it over to Elaine, the last Canadian cook, mother of 3 golden retrievers.
Yeah, I have number 1 here, or number 3 here. This is Digger. This is the latest puppy to our family. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Oh, look at that yawn.
He is 10 weeks or 11 weeks old, and will eat anything, including the wrapper that I have on my desk, so I have to hold him back. But fun fact, puppies can have eyelashes on their under eyelids, which is why this guy is so unhappy all the time, because it's not a good thing to have. But but then the eyes develop, and they can. Oh, sorry, he's wiggling. And he'll be fine in the end. That's my one fact. Back to you.
Love it. All right. My one cool thing of the week is going to be a throwback to the 90s. And I'm going to throw my brothers under the bus here.
Oh, boy.
Bowl cut.
Nice.
Bowl cuts. I think they should come back into style. I think maybe next week I'll be rocking the bowl cut. We'll see.
Do it.
Here first.
Homemade bowl cut. Do it.
It's time to change it up. Going a little stir crazy. Hey, if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. Send us an email later. We're going to wrap this up. It's been 30 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for taking a little time out of your day to learn a little bit about Flexa, have a few jokes, deal with our poor production quality. And seriously, stay safe out there. Stay sane, and let us know if you need anything from us. Until next Friday. Cheers.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. See you next week. Say goodbye, Roscoe.
Hi, Roscoe.
This is Roscoe. Say bye. Oh.
All right.
He's good. It's fine.
He's just mad that you made the coat out of his mom.